Are we live yet? Who knows? Let's find out, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to switch over to the stream and see how things are going. All right. So it looks like we have a delay, but yes, we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to What Are You Painting Now? All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get right to it. I'm going to have the chat up in the background. All right, first off, we've got Joseph. And yes, we are live. Thank you very much, Joseph. All right, let's get right to it, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, if you have any questions, get right to it in the comments and I'll read it out for you. All right, so first off, we have Sertunus Polidios, also known as an Andy. All right, so Andy just wanted to comment on my sexy, sexy voice last week. Which was, yes, I guess sexy is one way of putting it. Horridly ragged is another. But yeah. All right. So, of course, he's put up yet another boring historical. Well, actually, this is a much more modern historical. And, oh, it is beautiful. So when I was talking about the Curse of the Historicals last week, what I was talking about is very much shown here. So we've got an absolutely beautiful model in the way that he's done it up. So he's done, of course, the combat pattern stuff on the face, right? The grease paint, all of that sort of thing. And he's got some absolutely beautiful camo. And we have another commenter, a long-time friend of Waypan. We've got Davith. All right, he says, cool, something to watch whilst building more of the horrific Astartes backlog. Ah, yes, the backlog. Don't we all get terrified by it? All right, so yeah, beautiful camouflage, not so beautiful basing, but yeah, it all looks very nice, but there's not a great deal that you can do with it. You've got very limited sort of ability to do things with this particular model. But yeah, it looks great. I think that the black guns really suit them because without the black guns, they don't have a whole lot to break them up. But yeah, he's doing great work. All right, next up we've got Lawn Orr, and he's finished 27 of his Crix models, and he just wants to go through them. So last time I attempted to do this, what I was talking about is when you're following the guide and doing the models exactly as the guide, you know, you're in a very similar sort of situation, but at least you've got a bit of room to run around and do your own thing. But I think that the color scheme does work for these guys. The dull gray against the neon green looks very, very nice. And of course, we also always see from Lawn Orr just absolutely beautiful basing. And that's one of the things that I do love from Lawn Orr. So this guy right here, I really do like him, but I do think that, you know, the face is quite dull and pale compared to all of the rest of it, which may once again be sort of fitting the bill. But other than that, I think that this guy looks absolutely phenomenal. I do like the red and how it sort of contrasts against everything else there and makes him very characterful. All right. Yes. So our good Joseph is Lawn Orr, by the way. Only two elements, though. No. So when I talk about two elements here, last time I had a lot of trouble when I did this. So I'm going to copy image location. So hopefully it will come up and we won't have any problems. Oh, yes, me not having any problems. All right, so you see how right here you got a texture in the base, right? So that counts as two elements too, right? Because of its uneven way of doing things. So Lawn Orr was just commenting about how, you know, it's only two elements. See, one element such as like cobblestone can count as two because it's got that depth and that flow sort of thing, right? But you'd want to have at least one other thing on there with it. All right, so next up we've got the Hell Driver and the Borrowed token. I like that, you know, that it's it's not especially, you know, over the top, but I like it. Now, this lady, once again, I liked her because of the one little stretch of red there, which does make her look a lot more special compared to the rest. But I think if we were looking for special, this would be the one to choose. So let's take a look at it. So we've got relatively good work on the skin. I think if you want to improve things, Lornor, that's where you go into the skin work on the face. But you know, I'm never going to give anybody a hard time for skin work on the face because it is always a bit of a bugger. But there is one thing that I want to comment on here before I forget. So the thing that I very much dislike about War Machines is this right here, the way that you have to color the base. But I think with that sort of gold tip, I think that really does help improve things. You know, it does look significantly nice, and the cutoff of whatever the color is, you know, makes it look just slightly more fancy. All right, and then we have the Stalkers, and this, I think, is the standout of the lot of them. The Mallets right here with all of the spirits coming out of its war engine right there. Looks very, very nice. All right, and, of course, the Nightmare with all of the little spiraling bits of energy coming out of it. So, next up, we have more of Lorn Or's various war machines. And see, once again, I don't think that there's a lot that I can comment on, but with this guy, I can comment on one thing. So I think that when they do have bone on them, I think that the bone really stands out, and I think that he's done great work with the bone right here. You also see it with the first guy with the chompy bit faces, but I think with this right here, we have a much better view of it. You know, especially with these side shots right here. And I think that really looks good against all of the, you know, very cold gray and those brass rings and so on. See, having that organic thing in amongst all of that makes it look so much more visceral, because the rest of it looks very cold and stale and sterile, which of course is the whole point of the theme, but I think you guys get what I'm saying with that. All right, but yeah, so if you are following the guide book when it comes to these guys, all right, so Lorn Orr even also says it makes a bugger to fit in the foam though. He's too damn tall now. Yeah, I can imagine that these guys are very easy to transport. That's sarcasm, by the way, for those of you who are not familiar with it. But yeah. So yeah, I think great job all round, and I'm glad that you found all of your various bits of grit and so on to be able to finish everyone. So yes, you did manage to fit them all in on the video, even though the video is just a little late. All right, next up we've got Tao Chi. Okay, so Lorn Orr says, yeah, companies need to think about that more. Yeah, and I definitely agree with that. So I'm just going to scroll up to Lorn Orr's stuff, and I'm just going to be scrolling back and forth while I'm making this very quick comment. All right, so that is one thing that I do find frustrating. I really do love the dynamic models that GW is bringing out more and more often now. But I think that if you're going to be a company, you've really got to think about how your game is going to be played. Now, see, GW doesn't actually want its games to be played based off what I've seen. They're much more a showcase model company now, or at least they're moving more and more towards it. If you want your game to be played, you must think about how it's being transported. And we have the lovely Aura in a Bag who's just come along and said, hey, hello, just saw that you're live. All right, so yeah, taking a look at these various spiky guys, it is a bit of a nightmare to transport these guys. And yeah, I very much know that feeling of pain. All right, so next up we've got Tauchi. Now, hopefully this will not shut down the stream like it did last time when I was trying. Oh, interesting. Let's try again. Okay, because it contains errors. Okay, then. That was all. No. Oh. All right. All right. So, Tao Chi, I really did like your miniatures when they appeared before. Oh, very interesting. I do not have many insecurities now. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I guess I'm not going to be able to comment on Tao Chi stuff, but I really did love the green of those guys. I did think that the basing needed a little bit of work. Like you had two elements on some of those bases, and yeah, they did look very nice. I did like the black against the green, but yeah, that was okay. So apparently, Tao Chi. Beast of War hates you, or my computer. Either is viable. All right, next up we got Piers, and he's doing a bit of rebasing, and doesn't his basing look beautiful, ladies and gentlemen? I always love his basing. Now we've got here he's either a grenadier or he's a guy with a stop sign. Honestly, I don't know which one, guys. But yeah. Oh, also, while you guys are in the chat, please feel free to invite some of your friends along. And if you've got questions, go ahead and ask them. So, of course, you know, the Germans are looking very nice, the way that he's painted them up. But the basing is the focus of this little one here. So I do like this guy's basing over here. I think that with a lot of these that, you know, you could add just one more element. I think that the biker, he's got more than enough, right? But these other guys just want just one more element. So this is the difference between what I was talking about when I was talking about Lawn Oars basing and Pierre's basing right here. See, this gravel is all uniform and has no changes throughout it. So when you don't have that change throughout your basing, right, you don't have that change of depth, right? It only counts as one element. When you've got a, you know, not consistent, but actually inconsistent changing through your basing, I count that as two elements. So absolutely beautiful work by Piers. And then next up, we have the ever wonderful Richard Builds. And look at that. You know what, ladies and gentlemen? It looks like he's building something. All right. So he is building up his little caravan palace for I'm not too sure what, actually. He may tell us in the comments somewhere. All right, so he said that he's been scratch building some clutter. I'll go up to the top. Tweaked a ton of bits after dry fitting. So he's just dry fit all of this thus far. And let's see. He's got to keep it minimal. All right, so we've got some sort of mystery stuff in here, but it is looking absolutely lovely. But guys, please keep that in mind when you're building things. Dry fitting is so important, and it will save you a lot of pain and grief later in your life. Aura in a Bag says, and I have to go again. Kid wants attention. Hopefully, I will be back in a while. Thanks for streaming, Cal. No worry, I'm going to be here for hopefully the next 3.5 hours or so. All right. So next up, we've got Sed, and he is doing more of his mimics. And I think that they're looking absolutely phenomenal. All right. So what I particularly like about these guys is the way that you've got a whole lot of various different bags or barrels or whatever the case may be. And then you have the mimic. And I do like the way that, with some of them, it's very subtle. Like with this mimic right here, it's more or less just the eyes. And with some of them, it's very unsubtle with the guy and his mouth just wide open, jumping out at people. But yeah, so I think it looks great. But it's very hard to comment on that sort of thing because they are what they are, and I think that, well, what I do love is I do love the way that he's given some texture to the wood, and I do love the way that he's done up the eyes. But I will ask one thing from you, Said. Can you give us a flat background to comment on these guys next time? Because that will really, really help me. And yeah, I guess the other thing is I do like that he's actually worked to give a bit of depth to all of these. I think that is one thing that I can say. Oh, it's being friendly. Talk about something else. All right. Oh, so it's only having the attack over on where the comments are. All right. Aritzkany says, kudos to Calidors for keeping the weekly Waypan feedback going, even when he wasn't feeling well. Just a little. And he says, yes, totally agree, Calidors. Washes needed on all of those figures. In fact, he had already started on all of them. All right. And Brushstrokes says, sorry, couldn't join in on the live chat yesterday. I was dragging furniture out and shopping. So, yeah, that sounds like an adventure. All right. And we're back at the stream. Excellent. All right. So, and he is showing us something absolutely beautiful. So I absolutely love seeing his project going. And yeah, he said any comments would be appreciated. And I will share one of his confessions with with you even. He felt like he was boring people. Could you imagine seeing this project coming to life and thinking that that is boring? Oh, brushstrokes. But yeah, absolutely lovely seeing this thing evolve, and I really like seeing this brickwork here. But I am actually going to be giving Brushstrokes a bit of a hard time for once. So I'm not sure if this is finished yet, but for me, I'd want to run a wash over these and most probably another dry brush to make them look a bit more bricky. Because at the moment they look a bit like charcoal blocks more than bricks. I do think that it's looking really good shape and texture wise, but paint wise, I feel like it needs just a little more paint. But of course, I'm unsure as to the stability of this structure as it is all homemade. All right. So absolutely beautiful work, brushstrokes. And hopefully you will get some comments on the stream maybe, or we will get some comments here in the feedback. Next up, we've got Doug the Fug, and Doug the Fug is making even more of his Spanish conquistador, and they're looking absolutely lovely. So this is kind of what I was talking about with the historicals. So it's very much a by chance thing. So what we have here is just some absolutely lovely colors with Doug the Fug, and they look absolutely phenomenal. And I think that he has done a terrific job with this right here. I really love that he's added little bit of cotton there to add the, make it seem a bit more explosive. And yeah, that looks absolutely phenomenal. But this is what I was talking about with the Curse of the Historicals, right? You just paint whatever is historically accurate. You don't have a whole lot of choice in what the colors are, whether it'll look absolutely phenomenal or not, because a lot of the time with camo guys, you're just not meant to spot them, so this is life. All right. So I'm just going to check out over on the website and see if we've got some other people here. All right, and see if we can get more people in the stream. So if you guys are on, feel more than free to invite other people. All right, let's get back to it. So next up we have, oh no, you're going to miss out on your one. So Aura in a Bag absolutely shamed me with this piece. Oh my good Lord, she is so lovely. This is the model Whisper from the game Massive Darkness, and look at the way that she did her up. So she's done really well with the eyes, really well with the breasts, and I love this difference in color. So we've got the mask right blue with the body, whereas we have this billowing massive purple coat, and it looks absolutely lovely. God, it just blew me away when I saw this thing, and I just knew that I had to put some more work in. So once again, see, this is kind of what I'm talking about, the difference, right? So I tried to follow the card as much as possible, right? Whereas Aura in a Bag tried to, do what she felt was much more right with this. And see, I think that it's come out, really good, even though on my side, I'm doing what, I usually hate, following the card, but I just don't know the game that well at all. So that's what I'm doing. But see, I think this has really made it pop. Her color choices, making it so that rather than having leather stitches, it's like a lot more steel. It's a lot brighter. I think that that's absolutely phenomenal. And of course, take a look at that basing right there. Oh, mwah, absolutely magnificent. Take a look at that, ladies and gentlemen. And see, all flat, yes, there's an illusion of depth, and that is all painting, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, you are correct. Oh, does it not blow you away, ladies and gentlemen? Just beautiful. All right, so that is going to be enough of shaming myself and just absolutely falling in love with Aura in a Bag's stuff. All right, so we do have a comment. So David says, come on, and Guillotine have really been killing it with those Zombicide / Massive Darkness minis. That one in particular seems stunning. But how have you been finding them to paint? So painting wise, they've actually been pretty good. They're not greasy. So after just you just need to do one spray with them, but they are considerably smaller. So I think that when it comes to the very thin models, so we both started off with Sybil. Sybil would have to be the hardest mini to paint of all of the Massive Darkness models because she is so thin. She's so tiny compared to the rest. But I've only painted 2, so I'm sure that there are other people out there who have a better idea. All right, let us move on. And we have some wonderful commentary from Gorilla in a Brush. And this, ladies and gentlemen, this is what keeps people coming back. So keep that up, ladies and gentlemen. Always keep up your commentary. People absolutely love it, even if they don't give it the likes it deserves. All right. So next up, we've got we've got Richard Builds. with his trailer once again, and yeah, it is looking damn fine. He's just doing a bit of the oil stains, and he's doing all of the various chipping and so on with the paint jobs, and I think that it is looking damn fine. And we're also seeing the swing set in swing, doing all of that up, and oh, it is looking absolutely phenomenal. This little thing is coming together so well. It looks so desolate and haunting, doesn't it, ladies and gentlemen? But could you believe this is only a work in project? Sorry, work in progress, not work in progress. Yes, yes. Could you believe that it's only 3 a.m. over here? All right. So next up, we've got only one pin man, and he's just going through how he's making this terrain here. And yes, I do remember this one. I do believe I commented on this one before, and it does look absolutely phenomenal. So I'm not going to go over it again too much, but one of the things that I am going to say is this little bridge here, right? I think that really, really makes the whole thing. But I do think if he just, did up those little bits of steel over here with a bit of rust, matching the paint right there, I think that would have looked that much better. But, I'm trying to give people critique to grow as well. But, I mean, the thing is that this is very much terrain to play with. All right. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Some absolutely lovely stuff by only one pin man. And what I absolutely love is all the way up here is that he's gone through how he's built it. And that you guys have responded in kind and shown your love. And yes, I've been away for a while, so I'm going to have missed a lot of likes through this. All right, next up we've got Piers and some beautiful Africa core. All right, so once again, Piers does absolutely lovely work with the chipping and so on. And I always love seeing some canvas tops and so on with all of these various things, because it gives, once again, that difference of kind, ladies and gentlemen, and really, really does make them look that much better. Because you're always looking for differences of kind, ladies and gentlemen. Every time that you can make one thing look different from the rest, it always looks that much better. Now, of course, he really, really love is the way that he integrates all of the various icons with his things, because you take here, it's not just a laminated on, a stuck on, a transferred on icon, right? They're part of the paint job. And see, that I think takes quite a bit of talent. I always have a bit of trouble with the paint jobs when it comes to that sort of thing. So I just don't even use transfers at all. I just paint things on, and that is not something that you want to be doing. Next up, we have a few bits of commentary here and feedback, and I absolutely love seeing this, ladies and gentlemen. And yeah, just people talking about their various bits. But I did see somebody saying something about historical stuff there. Mage, commenting just on the general stuff. But this is absolutely phenomenal, ladies and gentlemen. I love seeing this stuff. I love seeing you guys get a bit of feedback. And that is what the Beasts of War staff love seeing. They love seeing you guys talk with one another, because this isn't just a place where you put up pictures and walk away. This is a place where you are a community. So I love seeing that. I absolutely love seeing that. All right, next up, we've got Mad Golem. And I'm going to try and zoom in on a bit of these, and hopefully, it'll work this time around. Hooray! Look, it is working. Ah, great success, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so let's see what Mad Golem's been working on. So he painted up these market stands. So these ones around here in the background. And I do think that they are actually looking really, really nice the way that he's done them up. I like the brass interlocks. Oh, no. Okay, good. Oh, that skip in the music made me make me panic a little, thinking that the music and the audio had stopped. All right. Do comment if my audio has stopped, please, ladies and gentlemen, because I will have a slight heart attack and I will restart the stream. But yeah, yeah. So I think it looks great. I really love the way that he's done the wood grain and so on. I think all of that looks absolutely phenomenal. All right. As to critique, what I most probably would do is see in those. Okay, good. Lorna has just informed me that there's been no problems on the stream end. Thank you for that, Lorna. I will stop having a panic attack now. No, I won't. But yeah, what I would say is just do rivets in there in a steel, which allows you for just one more color on there. But yeah, and I'd work a bit on the wood grain with the outside loo. All right, so next up we have. Oh yeah, well I have the music very, very low, Joseph. It's just so that I've got something in the background, so that I'm not just hearing my own voice this whole time. If you listen very carefully or turn it up very loudly, you might hear it. All right, so what we are taking a look at is some more from Doug the Fug. And yeah, he's just put up a video by Tabletop Minions. And I really like this guy. I occasionally watch his stuff, and I always find his more long form stuff really interesting, where he just, rambles on about something for a while. I don't know anyone who does anything like that, just rambles on about a subject for a while. But yeah, so he's just talking about 3D printing, which has very much been one of the subjects du jour of the site recently. So there it is, all printed up, and here it is, all painted up. So I do think that it looks really, really nice, but what I would most probably do is I'd run a dry brush over the Canon so that there's bits of steel where the steel would be exposed. And I'd most probably run this over with a gloss wash so that it's got that more oily sort of look, because when they were in use, that's a bit more what they looked like. Of course, now they all look very rusted and rustic, but that is not how it always was. But yeah, I think the paint job has come up nicely. But other than that one critique, I think that, yeah, it looks very nice. And I do like how he's gone through the whole process for us and talked about how it all came together. All right, next up we have some more from Doug the Thug. All right, so we've got Richard Builds here. And oh, Richard, you have been missing our lovely commentary on your stuff. And yeah, it has been really fine. And we did have a short commentary on how dry fitting will save you, and it will save you grief. All right, so we have some freebooters for the Blood and Plunder series. And yeah, so they look really nice. And this is sort of what I was talking about when I was talking about the Curse of the Historicals. So, I do think that these guys look quite nice in a look, but the thing is that this is the problem. I think with the pirate era, there's not a whole lot of historical errors, so you've got some room to move around. Now, yeah, I do know that the residential trailer is done up, Richard, but we're going to have to wait. There are other people on the stream. Oh, Rich. Of course, I'm just giving him a hard time, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, I do think that he looks really nice. I think that he's done really well with the skin up here. And I think that the decking's really come together. I think you want to hit those nails with steel. But other than that, I think that the miniatures, very nice. And yeah, so that is one advantage you've got with the Blood and Plunder series, that you can actually let them breathe just a little because you don't have to be as constrained by historical accuracy. All right, next up, we have, of course, Suetonius Paulinius, also known as Andy. And so this is very much what I was talking about with the historical. All right, we've got a comment from Lord of. I'm not sure if I should say that on stream, but yeah. So Lord says, "Core, blimey, that bloke's upside down. I bet he's Australian." Oh, you're not too wrong, Lord. All right. So we have the gun which helps break up this whole model, and that's what I was talking about with the black of the gun before. See, how much does it break up the whole model? And luckily, we've actually got the camera popping out of his head, which does. Hey, that's not Australian, it's Austrian. Oh, the internet, you've gotten me again. But yeah, it looks really nice, and he's added a bit of wood to this one to actually give us that third element on the base. But yeah, the camouflage looks great once again. But yeah, I think that it's looking very, very fine, and I very much do love the way that he does the he. All right, I'm just going to read out the comments so you can get why I'm laughing, ladies and gentlemen. So Lord says, you misread the comment. I have fooled you, Ozzy. And Richard says, upside down, upside down. He's written it up. You'll get it. You'll get it. Just come on the stream. All right. So let us move on. All right. And Nick, who had a whole lot of trouble with putting his stuff up, and that is the one thing I did manage to comment on when I was down in Victoria. Yeah, so Lord says the camo was very impressive on this guy right here. But yeah, so poor old Nick is having just a slight bit of trouble here, but the one thing that I will comment on is I think that the way that he's done color here is absolutely lovely. So purple actually complements the red. You know, purple and blue is the combination there. So this also complements the purple. So it's very subtle for a demon at least. You know, all of that complements that. And yeah, I absolutely love the way that he's done up the bone, and the glowing green eyes is on everything, you know, even on the skulls. I think that that looks absolutely lovely, and how that clashes with everything, which draws your eye. You know, I think that that looks really good. Okay, so I think for Nick, the thing that he wants to be working on is blending. Blending seems to be your next big thing here, man, because the transition is a bit rough. But yeah, color contrast, just absolutely beautiful. You know, you really hit it out of the park. But yeah, poor Nick, poor Nick. All right, and Piers is just showing off his collection there. So talking about transport wise, that is one thing with vehicles. You know, you don't have to worry too much about transporting these guys. And I guess that is one thing that the Flames of War people have done up, and have come together very nicely with that. You know, they're all very transportable. That was something that we were talking about on stream earlier. And oh yes, I absolutely love this from Nick. All right, so this is his comment on this guy all the way up here. Are you gonna love this, guys? Oh, thanks, man. Actually, that was deliberate. He inhabits a freaky upside down hell dimension. It's odd though. The pitch is the right way up on my phone. All right, play it straight, Nick. Play it straight. All right, and next up we have brush strokes, and here it is with the well all done up. Now that it's all done up, or that bit of stairs that we saw earlier, I think that it looks so much better. So ignore those comments earlier, brush strokes, as it was just a work in progress. I did not know that you would get it up to this stage. Oh, doesn't it look lovely, ladies and gentlemen? And if you've got any comments for it, I'll read it out on stream so that Brushstrokes can know that, you know, it's all right that people are not bored by his stuff. Oh, poor Brushstrokes, thinking that people would be bored by this. Yeah, so Richard says, loving that ivy. Yeah, and oh, it looks absolutely brilliant the way that you've done foliage on this whole project. I think that that's just definitely one of the features of this whole thing. All right, so next up we have more lawn ore, and so this I really like this guy right here, because it's just really alive, this one. So while we're having a bit of a seizure on my computer, oh, all right, no, they've come back. So yeah, oh, oh no, sorry, I thought it was a pun at first. So Richard Builds asks, "Is that tremendous scenery?" Yeah, no, because I've used tremendous before. I thought you were having a bit of a pun attack there, Richard. But yes, that's just the company. They're quite punny. All right, I'll stop. So this guy right here just looks absolutely phenomenal. So take a look at that eye, ladies and gentlemen. All right. All right. So we've got Aero Zero. I'm trying to get a Sin City feel on a few models. Any idea where to put splashes of color on a Zenith shade to make the model look good while keeping the majority of the model in black and white? And then Richard says, my puns are always way worse than that. Lornos says, really like him. Trying to store up on him or pick him up. He just broke varnishing him. Oh, no. This guy broke while varnishing. But yeah, so what I absolutely love about him is this sort of gloss look to the spiral guys with that bit of white down there. And then, you know, we've got a bit of bone, we've got the brass, we've got all these colors, and of course that absolutely beautiful eye right there. See, this is very high zoom, guys, so just keep that in mind when you're taking a look at the paint jobs. But yeah, just absolutely lovely. I really love how this guy's come together. And then we've got on the other side, we've got General Slaughterborn. And see, once again, this is the same sort of thing as the historicals, right? When painting within the theme, you know, you don't have as much room to express. So, like, I do like him, but see, this is what I like: violent clash of colors when it comes to these, you know, very unrealistic models. You know, because you should have all of the room in the world to make them look as outlandish as possible, because they are just so outlandish. All right, Soap Dodger said you should fix it up and post another pic so to show that it can be done. And so he said that's him after being fixed up. All right. But Lorna Orr says, but he will break once again. You stay optimistic, Lorna. You stay optimistic. But yeah, so we see a lot of more of the same guys that we saw earlier done up. So some more Death Rippers, the Defiler, a Ripjaw. So these are what I believe called light jacks, but I'm not 100% sure when it comes to crits. Like, they might have some beast models, but I don't think that they do. All right. But yeah, I do like the Soul Trappers and how they have these bright clashing colors. And see, for me, the one thing that I would work on, and it does look like Lawn or has been working on it, is a bit of light sourcing. So yeah, when it comes to all of that, how I would try and work within that theme. You know, do a bit of light sourcing because this is meant to be glowing soul energy. All right, so yeah, I think that this looks absolutely phenomenal. I think that he's done an absolutely magnificent job. But Jet, yes, with these ones, yes, only 2 elements because you don't have that bumpiness that you usually do with your guys. All right, so who do we have next up? Next up, we have the Rockster. Yeah. All right. So the Rockster is attempting some 3D printing. Seems like a bit of a theme on the site, doesn't it, ladies and gentlemen? Who knows? Who knows? Here it is all printed up. And then down here, we've got them all just based. And then here they are painted. So these teeny tiny models. But yeah, so Lorna just wanted to say one thing about these things. He says, those were texture paints there. It's pot luck as to how they come out. So yeah, I very much understand that feeling. It very much is pot luck when it comes to texture paints. So I'm not going to give too much of a hard time on, you know, how these guys have come out paint wise because they are very, very small. But what I would try for now, I do believe this is a newer person, or we haven't had them here for a while. The Rockster. What I would do when you're coming to much smaller models is very bold lines. So, like, if you're going to do edging, that sort of thing, take a look at doing extreme highlighting, that sort of thing, rather than going rather than doing just, you know, the more subtle stuff because they are so teeny tiny. So yeah, I think that they've come together so nicely. And I do like that they're very set teams. All right, and so Davith says, "Oh, nice, Master Battle Droids from Robotech, the Masters / Southern Cross series." So I do really like the color contrast with the actual boards compared to that of the mechs themselves, and I love the contrast of kind in doing the gloss wash for the face plates. I think that looks really cool, and I think it gives them that extra bit of depth. Like I'm always saying, ladies and gentlemen, you always want to focus on contrast of kind. You know, whenever you can. You know, I mentioned that with Pierre's, and I think that really does help make these miniatures pop. You know, even at this scale, right, you can see that difference of kind just at a moment's glance. So absolutely beautiful work, man. Absolutely beautiful work. And it is nice seeing more people doing the adventure with 3D printing. All right. Next up, we've got brushstrokes with even more progress with the foliage. Richard Build says, I'm 50-50 with the see-through bases. Yeah, so like it very much depends for me. I'm just gonna picture, and then I'm going to go into a bit of a tirade about see-through bases. So he says he sort of likes making them. Making bases is a lot of fun. Yeah, I don't make bases at all, so I can't comment on that. So I think see-through bases are the best for 2 things. So one, games like Zombicide, where the boards are going to be very flat, you know, where it is just going to be a board game, and, you know, other games where you're always playing on a mat. I think that they look great on that because you see the mat underneath. They fit the whole project, that sort of thing. But for me, I'm not a big fan of see-through bases because basing is so important to me. Um, and you know, when you've got your base, it tells a story about what your miniature is, where they are, what they're doing, who they are. Because what you are doing with miniature painting is you are showing a snapshot in this person's life, whatever they may be. So comments on the see-through basing, Richard Build says they work very well for sci-fi. Lawn Or says, when they scratch or crack, they are really bad. Glue can react with them, making them misty. It's not nice. Yeah, so I'm very much on the Lawn Or side on that. But yeah, I do think that Richard's right in that they can really make sci-fi sort of things. I think for a sci-fi board game, I think that that'd look really good. So we've got brushstrokes with some more works in progress on his Armies in Parade board. And that is our one, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so we're going for another 3 hours. Because, of course, I am completely mental. And yeah, I think that it's really come together. It looks so overgrown now. And one of the things that I particularly love about this, right, is it looks like a real place now, right? Not like just some vines are being slapped on, all of that sort of thing. It's really come to life. But I'm not going to comment too much because oh no, I got some sleep, Joseph. Yeah, no. The last stream which I attempted was called the 5,000 kilometer special. Yeah, I in the past week I've driven just over 5,000 Ks. So yeah, came home and went around, saw some people, and then got some sleep. That's why I'm up at 2 a.m. And next up, we have Ben, the man in the mirror, and he's showing up some of his Slaanesh/Khorne demons for his demon army. Now, I really love the color contrast on this. So while these are metallic, right? What do I always tell you guys about metallics? Think of them as a color. I know I'm boring saying the same thing over and over again, but look at that contrast. Red, blue, yellow, a primary color scheme. Love it, ladies and gentlemen. Love it. So, and I also love seeing, you know, some of our Beast of War staff in here. So that looks absolutely amazing. So if I could give some advice, what I would do to sort of keep this whole theme going, right, is if you want to sort of match them that much more, what I would do, Ben, is see the way that you've got this gold thing going on. Maybe do that with the hilts of their things, and this interior area here have that same hair. They'll look like a much more matching army. I think that that'll look really good. But of course, it's just a work in progress, so we're going to move on. And we've got some more guys done up by Suetonius Paulinius. And yeah, they are looking absolutely amazing. So we've seen some of these guys come together before, right? Like the guy with the camera and so on, right? Now, so while I do really love these guys, the one thing that I will say is I think that with these cameras here, unless I am missing something, because that might be a cap on them, what I might try doing is, and I do like that I can actually give some advice to Andy for once, is right, hit them up with a blue and a gloss wash, and I think they will come up that much better. You know, to just give a bit of difference of kinds to all of this stuff right here. You know, just add just that tiny bit of color to these guys, which will really help things. I've got to be careful because Andy always links his stuff, which is very nice, which means that it's that much easier to just actually get to them, like that. Unfortunately, post image is not quite PhotoBucket, but PhotoBucket is a bit of an SOB at the moment. Once again, it's a bit of trouble saying certain things on the stream. But yeah, that's a week and 2 days ago. So it looks like we're almost halfway there at the moment. All right. So if you guys ever want to take a closer look at Andy's stuff, all you have to do is click on it, and he loads up those. Things. But we have Richard to the rescue. Richard Builds, and he says, "I can recommend Google Photos." So next up, we've got Andre, and he says he hosts all these photos there. We've got Andre77. And we've got some cultists done up, and they look absolutely phenomenal. And he adds one last bit, and he says, "For free too. Amazing." Oh, I love the little smiley face. So these cultists, they really, so they're Alpha Legion cultists. But this guy right here, he really reminds me of Necromunda. I do believe they're called the Redemptors. I can't remember for sure, but what I really do love is this is what I'm talking about. When you're in a sort of fantastical setting, you can really just go for gold with these sorts of things. You can just go whole hog and show off as much as you want. So he's done these lovely gray skins against these sort of more palish blue for the actual cloth, and of course, green masks, green hair, all of that sort of thing. And see, just that color contrast, it's just so good, especially against this background of steel right here. So I have to say, I will say one thing, Andre77, as much as I love these bases, I think that they look that much better on the steel bases, because on the steel bases, they've got just that extra layer of contrast, and whereas the bases look more incorporated, and while that can be really good, I think the contrast works that much better on these guys, because it looks like they're in a real place, and they look very colorful themselves. So, if you have more steelish looking guys, I think that they look much better on those guys, like you have your actual Marines themselves on. But yeah, so I think they've come together so nicely. But I'm not just here for, blowing smoke. So I'm going to try and zoom in. Oh, well, I did. All right. So my job is done. All right. Thank you, everybody. Now I shall move on. All right. And next up, we have Pierre's with even more historicals. So strangles. Oh, as if I'm sensing a theme. Is anybody else sensing a theme? So he's doing up some more of the Panzer Corps, I believe. Like be a lot less battle damage than the average ones that we see. So they're looking absolutely phenomenal, and they're in much better nick. So see, for me, this is very much what I was talking about when I talk about the Curse of the Historicals. So on this, oh God, do they look good, right? Because they've got that strong contrast against the background. But, when you're just looking at them in this, which is easier, of course, for commentary. So please, everyone, if that's one thing that you can learn from Pierre's, the way he sets out his photos, absolutely beautiful, ladies and gentlemen. You know, doing the one shot of it in here and then doing the shot of it like this. Oh, if everyone did that, oh, I would be in heaven. But I mean, work in progress shots, do whatever you want, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, so I do think that, you know, it looks very plain, but I guess once it's on the battlefield, you know, it's got a very, very strong contrast. So I guess there is that for these historical ones. But yeah, I do think that he's painted it up very, very well in a technical sense. The way that he's done that very sort of much, much lighter, you know, cracking with the paint. And it'd be interesting to find out how he does it because there's just these tiny, tiny chips with it, and it's amongst a much lighter paint job. So yeah, that would be interesting to see how he does that, whether he does it with salt or how he does it. But yeah, that looks. But see, yeah, look, that makes much better. Exhaust right there, looking so damaged compared to that. That's great contrast. Absolutely magnificent contrast. All right, but I do believe that that's the problem I have with the historicals. There's not a whole lot that I can think over and over again. But yeah, like that looks absolutely lovely. The way that he does, I love that, and how he kicks it up onto the rim of the tank. Absolutely. So next up, we have myself, and I just showed what I was going through before I went off. So yeah, I've been working on this project for a while. So all of them are at this stage. I was going to do a whole, you know, painting progress thing, and I think I'll do up just one or two of them to show the whole process when I do them up. But yeah, I think that they've come together very, very nicely. But see, yeah, this is how you can get the rust effect by just adding the rise of rust. So I've got the whole process up here on the thing, and I do believe I've got it linked. And here she is, my version of the Massive Darkness Lady. And I have just been following the card, as you guys can see here in the background. And I haven't done the basing up yet, but hopefully sometime today, with any hope. And here's brushstrokes with yet another work in progress of his board. And I think that it's coming together really well. I think once he adds the water effect, I think that that will transform this whole area. Alrighty then. But let us move on. And we've got Ced with some more of the Mimics project. So I actually like these ones a lot more than the other ones. And that might just be because they are the classic. And I think that they are looking absolutely phenomenal. I love the teeth. That's going really nicely. Yeah, it's just lovely. But there you go, brushstrokes. People are not bored by it. Richard Build says, love a beach board. But yeah, so I think that the way that he's done the wood grain on this one has come together really nicely. For me, I'd want to paint some different wood grains on here, maybe do a quick dry brush to hit up the raised areas to make it look just a little different. But other than that, I think that they look really, really nice. So be seeing some more from Ced. And sorry that it wasn't already thumbs up. Like I said, I've been away for a while. All right, so we've got MC Gamer, and he's doing some works in progress, doing up Bretonnian skeleton horde. So these are some raised Bretonnians. So hopefully we'll get to see them all done up before we're finished. Next up, we've got Guillotine, and Guillotine is showing off some absolutely lovely guys from the Gates of Antares. I really love the way that he's done this purple fade. That absolutely amazing, ladies and gentlemen. Just phenomenal. All right, so just the purple fade on all of it looks just phenomenal. So I wonder how he's done it. Does he say how he's done it? Da-da-da. Adding some water effect to the recesses at the base. Nope, doesn't say how he's done it. But it could be either dry brush or airbrush and then paint over everything. But speaking really do his bases look absolutely lovely, and he's not finished with them. So these are just works in progress, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, it is an airbrush. But I tell you what, taking a look at this guy, is there anybody else who's thinking of the Power Rangers back in the day? That purple guy. I don't know his name. I'm sure that somebody can remember what I'm talking about. All I remember is Rita Repulsa, but there was also a purple guy along at some point, and this guy reminds me of him the way that he's done up at the moment. But yeah, so hopefully we will see those all done up soon enough. All right. And look, it's Richard Build, so time to move on. No, I'm just giving him a hard time. All right, entering the finishing stages of my Fallout take on Sarissa's residential trailer. I've roughed up the awnings and everything's attached. The interior cuttings are drying and just a bit of weathering on the outside finish. So it looks like this cloth, Richard, that you've added to the awnings, or is that the way that it comes? So hopefully Richard will be able to comment on the awnings while we're taking a look. So of course, still that absolutely beautiful, beautiful chipping that he's done, and I do like the way that he's done the glass. I think it looks nice. Tissue paper plus PVA is how he's these. But all right, got the exterior weathered up and oil pigment powders. Managed to catch the evening sun for some moody photos. Oh, is this? Yeah, here it is, all done up. All right. So here we are. We're just going to have a bit of a scroll through, and then I'll give my full commentary. So I'll be able to have a drink while we're scrolling through. All right. So I'm going to start with this shot right here. So one of the things that I really do love about Richard Build's stuff is the way that he makes these places look, well, not so like lived in. Perhaps is not the best way to put it, but it looks as if they've been here. They don't look like sterile pieces of terrain. You know, that's one of the worst parts about terrain, especially if they're all cracked and done up. You know, they don't look lived in, and that that I think really does help with things. I do like the glass effect, but there's just something in my brain which makes it go, not right. I I really wish that I could articulate that a bit more, because I think if I could, I think that that would really help things. I think maybe having some shattered glass on the interior would really help with that effect. And of course, I love the way that he does the chipping and the peeling paint and the oil effect. I think yeah, so Richard just says glass is hard. There's some other comments which I'm going to read out soon when I'm done commenting. But yeah, I think that that is definitely one of the biggest features of what Richard does. And the one thing that I will say is I absolutely love the way that he's done these shots, you know, just absolutely beautiful, because it really does help with the commentary. And I really think that it suits the feel of this piece. You know, I think it looks absolutely lovely. But yeah, so I think if anything, just adding those bits of glass, especially because, with these bits of paper and so on, it's, for to improve at this stage with these sorts of things, the amount of work that you're going to have to put in is going to be exponentially more for infinitely less, appeal, because there is so much work that has already gone into these ones. And I think Richard knows what I'm talking about with that. All right. So I'm just going to sit here on, let's see, which is the best picture? I think maybe this one right here. Now, if we're going to be having a bit of commentary, let's use this one. All right. So let's open it up. And I will read out what people are saying. All right, so Richard says, when it comes with card awnings, so I just covered them. Yeah, so with the awnings right here, oh, that looks great, that shot. All right, I think that looks absolutely phenomenal, the way that all of that's come together. But I think that rather than maybe, I think that tissue paper is a bit too textured. I think maybe take a look at something a bit harder. I'm just trying to think. Like, I think maybe actual cloth might be with a hit of PVA might be better. Like, so say handkerchief cloth might be a bit better with this. And Soap Dodger says, I do like the effect of that. I don't play with any games for myself. Want to make a start. All right, but yeah, so I think that this right here just looks absolutely phenomenal. The way that it's all come together. But yeah, so the two things that I would improve is use actual cloth with PVA. I think would help, because I think the tissue paper adds a bit too much texture, and just the glass, there's just something that's sort of making me I don't know how to, it just puts me off just a little. I do really like this bit right here, but I think when the shapes are like that, it's just a bit too uniform. It looks very sort of comic booky compared to all of this super realistic style. But yeah. All right. So I think that's it for the Richard Builds project for that week. All right. Oh no. BMAD is having a few problems with oh no, that was with this. Yes, I remember now. The photos weren't coming up originally. Oh no, Richard Builds. All right. So next up, we've got Evil Stu. You know what? I'm gonna see if he is actually on the website, so that we can see if we can get him to come on. All right. Let's see. Do we have an Evil Stu on the website? No, we don't, because he absolutely loves doing this whole thing. All right. So we'll go back. All right. So Richard just says, good points, well made. It always comes down to be a trade-off between detail and time, ultimately. Yeah, without a doubt, I can confirm that. Detail versus time is a punishing project that we all face. So, I will without a doubt confirm that. So we have, of course, Evil Stu's piece right here, and it looks absolutely phenomenal. So I love the muted color contrast with this guy. So we've got, his sort of pale flesh and armor contrasting against this sort of mustard yellow cloth, and of course the red of the various demonic creatures on him. But one thing that I've got to comment on is just take a look at the way that he's done up this book. That is absolutely freaking amazing. I'm going to scroll down and see if we get a back shot as well. Yeah, so I'm just going to give a quick comment on the back shot, and then I'll open this one up. So I do think like the back shot's got great contrast on it, maybe better than the front, because you've got that coat and these great bits of gold trimming there. I think that that looks really, really good. And of course, the mustard yellow pops out that much more. So let us go over and we will take a look at this. All right, so absolutely beautiful work with the horns. I absolutely love that. But take a look at the way that he's done up the book, ladies and gentlemen. The way that he's done it up so as if it is an actual spell book. I think that that looks just absolutely phenomenal. Just freaking beautiful. And take a look at this basing, ladies and gentlemen. All the little various bits and accoutrements in amongst it, that's, it feels that much more alive. And, when it comes to this, I think that it looks just absolutely phenomenal. And I'm just going to give yet another comment on, because we've had so many good ones recently. I love seeing these background bits in those shots. Really does help when it comes to commentary. Now, I think that the staff has come up. So Soap Dodger says, awesome attention to detail. Yeah, without a doubt. I think that it's come together all really well. But of course, I try and give, critique, I'm not trying to give ever criticism, just, trying to pull people down. I always want people to grow. So I do think, this bloke up here, the way that the wash has come into him hasn't made him look as good. As much as I do love the base, I think you want to start Lawn or does start with a bit more of a paste and put that down first. But I think with this guy, the comments as to, those extra bits you need to do, I think it's very much the same as Richard Builds. The amount that you need to do is just so minimal, and it's that much extra effort. But definitely that paste for the base, before you start adding all of the grass and all of that sort of thing, I do think that that will improve things a tremendous amount. But yeah, absolutely love how he comes together. And yeah, this imp right here, that guy looks absolutely freaking amazing. I absolutely love how he's come together. So next up, oh yeah, poor Richard had some problems with the pictures. All right, so next up we've got Yasava, and he's putting up some more War Machine things. And look at that basing, ladies and gentlemen. We've added a third element. Oh, praise Allah. So yeah, absolutely beautiful right there. These, I think they are Signar. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. These Signar Warjacks, they kind of remind me of all of the various gridiron inspired games, the way that they look. They look very sort of heroic football stars. But yeah, I love the way that he's done up the basing, and how it's got that great contrast against the model itself. Signar Chargers, Lornor tells me. Yeah, I'm not as familiar with War Machine anymore. But yeah, so I think that they look absolutely great. Once again, it's a bit of, I'll call it the army book curse rather than the curse of the historicals. He's doing them up to match the book. And I do think that the yellow against the blue looks absolutely magnificent. But I think the way that he's done up the basing has really, really helped him out. Because just absolutely magnificent contrast there. Improvements, I think just edging in the blue is the only thing that I could really comment on that. Because I really do love this sort of clean mechanical steel look, which very much suits the Signar army. And the basing is just mwah, absolutely beautiful. All right, so we've got some side shots of them. And yeah, I do love the very clean look that the Signar guys have. Yeah, because on sides like this, you've got that absolutely phenomenal contrast with the way that they look. Um, but yeah, and he just wanted to say at Calidors, just watch the wave hand videos. It's not that I listen to you, man. It's just that I hate basing. But yeah, just add that extra element, man. Just do it. Just do it. All right. So next up, we've got some more from Lawn Orr. All right. And he's trying out some of the new P3 paints for Grimekin. But yeah, I do know these guys. These are the oh, what a time to forget. As soon as I say that, Circle of Orbrus. And they are looking damn fine. And I do want to give, I know that he's on the stream, so try and hold your ego in check, but I do really want to give props to Lawn Orr for showing his whole process, because that's what this is all about, ladies and gentlemen. It's about what are you painting now? You know, it's not about what are you painting later. It's about what are you painting now, ladies and gentlemen. And, you know, showing the whole process of how he goes through things, that really does help, because when you take a look and you see stuff like, you know, the absolutely beautiful work by Richard Builds, you know, you see these finished pictures, and of course, you know, Evil Stu has shown his whole process, right? But I'm just saying, if you see like just a series of finished miniatures, right, you might start to get those palpitations, you know, have the heart going a little, and then just being like, oh no, I'll never be as good as the other people. But you will, guys. You will. You know, it's a process. And even like we were saying before with Richard Builds, you know, it's a thing you're gonna have to make a trade-off at a certain point in time and go, you know what, if I put extra work into this, it's not going to look that much better, but if I want to make it look just a little better, I'm going to have to put a huge amount of work in. All right, so next up, we've got Bucket Knight, and he's finished off some models for Infinity. Richard says he's worried he's a better photographer than a builder. So just says, yeah, very bad at that. For props to early pitches, photos for the yeah, if it's a process picture, guys, don't worry about the backgrounds. Like when it comes to these finished pictures, which I spend a lot more time on, you know, commenting on that sort of thing, I love seeing the backgrounds like we've got with Bucket Knight here. With those do not worry, or Hasai Islam, I don't know, but these guys look absolutely beautiful the way that they're done up. So I do like the way that these bases incorporate all sorts of bits of other bits. So I think that the color contrast looks absolutely phenomenal. You've got that green against red and white. Just, that is just so good. But I do think that the skin needs a bit of work, Bucket Knight, because she's got a bit of those big bubba lips, you know, going on this one. I do think that the way that you've done the dark skin looks really good, though. But other than that, you know, I think that these guys look really good overall. So with this sort of gravelly texture you've got going on here, I just add something a bit more like bits of dirt here and there, that sort of thing. Because while it does look good and while you do hit the 3 elements thing, just one more extra thing on these would make them look that much better. So, Davith says that he thinks that she's meant to be wearing a respirator mask. a really close look. I don't think so, Davith. Take a bit of a closer look. You might be right, but I'm unsure as to one way or the other. No, I can see the eyes in there and the nose and that sort of thing. So you might be right on that one. Um, but I think it could go either way. But absolutely phenomenal work, but the lips and a bit more on the basing. Really phenomenal work, Bucket Knight. The color contrast is definitely the key thing that you've done up there, which looks absolutely great. And I do love all of the various sort of iron bar bricks you've got in the well, they're most probably not iron, they're most probably some sort of space material. But I do think it does look absolutely phenomenal. All right. And we've got some more by you. So Richard Build says pigment powder dusting around the boots. Yeah, no, that would look good, but see, once again, that effort sort of thing that I was talking about, and I tend not to recommend anything which people don't have easy access to. As an Australian, that's why I'm often talking about GW stuff, because that is the stuff that we actually have easy access to. And for me, I'm always a physical guy. I like to go to the store and get whatever it is that I've ordered. All right, so these guys are looking really nice, a lot more realistic, with the exception of the hair. But I do think that you've done a lot better with this skin on this lady than with the previous guy. And I do love that great contrast of the bleach blonde hair against the darker skin. I think that looks just absolutely phenomenal. But yeah, see, same thing with the basing, just adding just a little bit of clumps of dirt, stuff like that, because it's just I don't know, the gravel I don't think is your best friend here, just because of its level of thickness. I think it could be holding you back just a little. Um, so Richard Build says, make your own pigment powder. It's just uh, finely crushed pastels. Avoid oil pastels. Well, there you go. All right. If you ever want to put that up on Waypan, man, feel more than free, and do your own tutorial, because people don't know how to do that, Richard. They've got no idea. That is not something that's commonly known to my knowledge. All right. So. Um, all right. Yeah. So I was pretty crushed last week. That message was sent at like 3 a.m. after 100 k's of driving. Um, I was seeing someone, but I'm not going to comment too much on that. That's my time, not your time. So next up, we've got Fishman, and says, "Oh yeah," because I've commented in another thread. He said, "After you drive, I'm surprised you managed even that much of a reply. Take it easy, mate. Don't push yourself." So yeah, thank you very much, Fishman. So Lorne Orr says, yeah, it was covered in the Walsung live blog briefly, but I'd love to see more on it. He's talking about Richard's builds, making your own pigment dusts for boots and such. So he's done up an absolutely phenomenal necromancer here. I absolutely love how this guy's come together. Or is it girl? It's unknown. Either I don't know whether to comment on a very unfit man. Yeah, I think it's a very unfit man. But one of the things that I think Fishman does absolutely phenomenally is patterns. So the way that he's done up the horse's coat there, with that skull theme, all of that, I think that all of that looks absolutely phenomenal. Yes, Soap Dodger says it. It is the best way of referring to this one. Um, Yes, it is the necromancer. And I do believe he's a vampire or she, whichever it may be. It is whichever it may be. So absolutely love the patterning, and I think the skull on the back looks absolutely phenomenal. But with these older miniatures, it's a lot harder to paint them up. I do think this over here, you know, you could do a bit more work on all of the sort of skin area, but I can understand why he hasn't, because you know it's diminishing returns once again, like we were talking about. But I do think the blade needs a bit more work, and I think that you want a bit more of that glow effect on the skull over here, or do, you know, a darker internal light. I think that that would help a tremendous amount. But other than that, I think that this looks really good. But of course, not fully done up until we've got a base. All right. So next up, we've got Lawn Orr showing us off some more works in progress. And see, this is the thing. When it comes to these sorts of things, okay. So Richard Builds is talking about how to make your own pigment paste. Says there's not too much to it. Crush up chalk pastels in a cheap mortar and pestle. Dust on with a raw brush and fix in place with a varnish, or mix of varnish for mud effect. Yeah, well, like, see, honestly, man, like, you could do a whole tutorial on that and people would love it, because all right, so Lawn Orr says, I've varnished over pigments before and had the pigment varnish. I don't know what that means, Lawn Orr. So when it comes to works in progress, see, some of the times this is the sorts of things that people won't know until they see it. So often with your metallics, they will come out so bright. Like, you take a look at this, right, and you may think to yourself, oh no, I've stuffed it. Oh, the varnish disappeared, according to Lawn Orr. Yeah, and Richard says you don't need a heavy varnish over a pigment just to hold it in place. All right, so the thing is that once this is washed over, which we might see, no, not yet, it's going to bring it right down. So, like, these are things that you only learn if you see those works in progress shots. But yeah, absolutely lovely work, Lawn Orr. Thank you for sharing. All right, so next up, we've got Suetonius Polinius with more historical dullness, as he says. But I'm absolutely loving these shots that he's doing, you know, with the you know, sort of picture slash photos in the background. And I also love how he's done that little bit of rolling dust in the background. So yeah, these guys are looking great. Those guns, and see those knee pads. Oh, they help break up the model so much. You know, I think without that, you know, you would just be seeing this blob of camo. And see, that's the only problem I have with that sort of thing. You know, they are not always helping with that sort of thing. Yeah, so Soap Dodger says, always amazing work, captures such character in the models. Oh, yeah, without a doubt. They've got great character with these models. I think that they look absolute. Oh, take a look at this shot, ladies and gentlemen. This is absolutely phenomenal. Oh, that's just beautiful. I'm just going to sit on that for a moment while I have a drink of water, because that is just such a great shot, ladies and gentlemen. I just love that. So yeah, just absolutely beautiful, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I do think that without the black of the guns, I do think these models would look just a bit too camoed up. But I do think that they look absolutely beautiful the way that they're done up. And he says he guess he plays a bit too much Call of Duty. You know, I have had a conversation with you, Andy, before. You know, I'm just going to throw it out there, but I don't think that you play a whole lot of Call of Duty. All right, so we've got a long-time fan, first-time poster. So I'm going to read out this whole thing because I really did love this whole thing, and it's just really nice to see some of the lurkers come out of the dark and you know, join the group. So we've got Master Dwellin. Dwellin? All right. Greetings, guys. I'm a long-time Beast of War member, but this is my first delve into the forums. I would like to show you my latest hobby project, my 40k Primaris Hellblasters. I have started painting them during the latest Hobby Night Live. So he goes into a whole thing about the chapter he's using, the various paints he's using, you know, and how he had a Warren moment. But yeah, see, that's the thing, guys. People love seeing your works in progress. People are very welcoming. You know, I very much doubt that there's any first-time people here in on the chat. Dwelling. So Richard's just put up Dwalin, one of the dwarves from The Hobbit. I see. And, you know, like I said, I very much doubt that there's any first-time posters in here on this video, at least while I'm live. Oh, that looks so much better once it's hit up with the washes. But we're very welcoming people. You know, we love seeing new people come in to this place and be a part of it, because you always want more painters. You always want more commenters. And oh, do we get to see them fully done up? All right. So I'll give a bit of commentary on these guys. All right. So let's give a full commentary, shall we? All right. So here we go. So first off, the first is excellent choice of color scheme. I think that you've done really, really well on that. You know, the green against the blue, just clashing colors, great all round. You know, the red against the blue and the green as your highlight color. Excellent, excellent choices. As for the basing, so I think that it's come together all right. You know, those little bits of, you know, grain and stuff in amongst all of that's come together all right. But I would still try and add one more element to your basing. I think that that looks really, you know, like it's just bordering on good enough. You know, I think that it looks decent. I think that that's where you're going to improve the most. As for the Marines themselves, I do love this little glow effect that you've done. I think that's just with dry brushing, and I think that that's come together really well. Just the next thing that it seems that you need to focus on is just neatness, just not getting too excited. You know, you've just got a few moments like that. But I think overall, you've done really, really, really good. The one thing that I might consider is with these Aquilas and, you know, flying skulls and so on, maybe take a look at using steel to give yourself, once again, another contrast of kind, because you've got with these, the black guns and that sort of thing, you know, you don't have a whole lot of steel elements on these guys themselves, but there are some really great things that you've done, like the way that you've done the highlighting on that mask, that edge highlighting, just absolutely beautiful. I think that you've done really, really well, man. And I think that you will really enjoy being a part of this community, because people, you know, they're so welcoming, and I absolutely love that that's the community that I've helped build. You know, I'm really proud of it. So I think as far as a first-time post goes, you know, that is just phenomenal, phenomenal work, man. So be proud of yourself on that. Oh, and one other thing, if you could give me a proper sheet for the background, that would help a tremendous amount for commentary. But yeah, great work with the plasma stuff. Great work with the color contrast. Need to work on the bases. Need to try and not get too excited. All right, so Sheldon09 from Beast of War has just joined us, and he says, regarding pigments, I give them a matte spray when I'm done. See, yeah, all of you guys talking about matte sprays and such, it's not an Australian thing. We just don't have that. All right, we've got Splin with some more upside down minis. You know, I think I'm going to see, do I have enough room? No, I don't. I was going to see if I could just turn the laptop around. But unfortunately, with the thing plugged in, I'll see if I can turn them on this thing. I usually don't use... Oh, that's going to take a while to load. All right. So, no, there's no way of turning them. All right, so Sheldon says, never gloss spray over pigments. Looks rubbish. So I actually really, really like the look of these guys. Look, I'm going to scroll down and see if he's done it. No, why? All right, hopefully they're finished loading over here. Not quite yet. They're the right way. How? What? How? Why? Why were they the wrong way round on his actual thing? So I just want to comment on the basing while things are still loading and things are still the right round. That basing just, absolutely, absolutely lovely. That looks so good. That's very much Australian bush basing. And I have spent a lot of time in the countryside recently, so I can very much attest that that is how the Australian countryside looks a lot of the time. So absolutely beautiful, 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 beautiful work on the basing. Oh, good Lord. All right, no, it stopped having a heart attack. All right, we're all good. We're all good, ladies and gentlemen. Remain calm. Everyone, remain calm. So, and I really love that contrast between the Marines and the base. But just speaking of which, while I really do like the Aquillas and while I really do like that, I'm going to see if he's saying it's a work in progress or not. But see, just a bit stuck on the symbols and icons at the moment. All right, so I do think that you've done really well with the Aquillas and that sort of thing. But you add more color to these guys, even if it's just on the rims of the shoulder pads and stuff, because at the moment they're too monochromatic. I think that that's really helping your cause, because you're doing absolutely beautiful work with the color contrast, even if it's just a black edging, man. Just like help break up that model, because at the moment they're just too much of a single block. See, and that's a problem that a lot of Space Marines have. Take a look at, knee pads, that sort of thing. As for symbols, hopefully we can help out on that front if you tell us what you're doing. But yes, this is absolute when it's, just absolutely phenomenal. The only thing that I'm giving you a hard time about is adding some extra colors and seeing the symbol. So see if you can turn that thing around, because that is absolutely phenomenal work. Next up, we've got Laughing Boy. Now, Laughing Boy has been doing up some very interesting stuff recently, and he's doing Cult of Ural. I'm not too sure how to pronounce that. It's for the Bushido game, and it's more of these zombie guys. Now, I really do love the combination of that sort of rotten skin, sort of decayed flesh, just flaking off. I think that looks absolutely phenomenal. Now, as for the base, I really like how he's done that bit of grass up there, but do some gravel underneath so that there's some texture to the snow. you know, rather than just a flat snow. I think that that would help you out a tremendous amount. Also, I love that color contrast with the mask against everything else. But yeah, I think that he's looking really good. But take a look at that wood graining, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, absolutely, absolutely beautiful, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so and yeah, the green of that cloth does help contrast with things. You know, it's not as much of a feature on the front of the model, but on the back, it does help out a great deal. And of course, that black hair looks just absolutely phenomenal once we're able to see it a bit. All right, so next up, we've got Piers, and he's doing something from the new Zan miniatures. So I do not know where this guy is from, but I do like his colors. You know, we've got some red and some green, and you know this sort of teal vest. See, that's the main thing that I like. I like seeing color on these models, and I think that that looks absolutely phenomenal the way that he's done up. But I don't know the scale that they're done up in. So here we go, 20 millimeter. I do, however, think that you know perhaps this might not be the best model the way things are looking. So this is the Zan miniature. This is the wartime. Um, so I'd say of all of these guys, I'd say maybe the PSC one or the AB one might be the best looking amongst them. Um, see, you've got a bit of a different color scheme with this guy compared to the rest, so I can't really say one way or the other 100%. But I'd say that AP or the sorry AB or the PSC ones are definitely the best ones amongst those ones. But I'm going to throw it to the comments for a second and see if you guys have anything to say on these models right here. If you think that any of them are looking the best, I'll just give that for a minute while just having a quick drink of water so that I don't become completely parched during this stream. All right, guys, I'm throwing it to you. All right, nothing on that end. So I think that, you know, we don't have as many historical people in the stream, or we're still waiting on that delay. So if there are more comments, I'll come back to it later. All right, so Brushstroke is showing some more progress on the board, and take a look at those trees and shrubs, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, just okay. Soap Dodger has just given a comment. So Soap Dodger says AB is the best looking, as though he's work. My tongue. AB is the best looking, as though he looks like he's walking with purpose. Yeah, I do think that with a lot of these guys, I don't think that they have that sort of look of purpose. I do think that the Zan model does have a look of purpose. I think that Battlefield looks the worst. And Sheldon09 says he's looking through his phone and can only see two properly. So yeah, I don't think that's helping on that front. But yeah, so I just thought I'd share that with you, Piers. Well, we've got people on stream. All right, so Brushstrokes, yeah, just absolutely lovely shrubbery. I think that the foliage just looks so good on this. And I tell you what, if he does not win, you know, there will be hell to catch at that place. You know, so you're going to have to share where you're posting stuff up. And he's got a whole guide on how to paint palm trees. Now, I was going to bring this. You know what? I'll no, I won't, because it's on the Facebook, so I don't know whether my one at least on this browser. So yeah, I think that it just looks really good the way that these shrubs and stuff are done up. It looks very naturalistic. It doesn't look fake at all. You know, it looks like it could be a real place. Like if you took that from a bit of a further distance and there wasn't the wall in the background, you know, people could very much be fooled. You know, that does look like old movie set design stuff, you know, and just these palm trees, just so good. All right, so next up, we've got Said with some more Mimic stuff. And of all of the Mimic stuff, I think that this is the one that I maybe like the most, just because there's such a contrast between, you know, the normal books and the Mimic book. And I think that the way that he's done up the tongue stuff just looks absolutely, absolutely phenomenal. As for critique, I can't really see anything to say other than I might have gone for a bit of a bone rather than just a pure white, you know, and yeah, so that's about all I can say on that one. But yeah, I love the way that you've done up the tongue and the innards of the creature itself. I think that that looks absolutely, absolutely phenomenal. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is our two. All right. Off his 3D printed cannon and the base that he's. So, I'm not sure that this one's finished or the other. I think it might be, but I it's hard to tell some of the times. You know, I do think that those wooden planks look really good. I like the stones, but see, I don't know whether this is meant to be like a desert slash beach emplacement or not. Because if it is, you know, like that's the problem you have with sand stuff, because we're always working with sand when it comes to those sorts of things. But yeah, I really do like the board itself. I think that that's come together really nicely. I think the sandbags are all right, but I do think maybe hitting them with a dry brush would be a good idea. But I'd say of anything, the reason why it's looking, you know, not completed is the sort of sides right here, the concrete sides. You know, it just looks a bit like plaster a bit, which might be the idea. But other than that, I think it's looking really, really good, man. And I think that your cannons looking really good seeing it on something else, you know, especially this shot right here makes it look just absolutely lovely. So next up we have yes, with a special dedication to yours truly, a Hordes and War Machines flags, because he's been doing up some basing. But yeah, I do like how he's done up the flags, you know, how that they're not only different colors, but different shapes as well. I think that looks very, very nice. All right. So I think that that looks great, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm just going to throw it over to the stream. What do we think about having a short intermission? I'll turn up the music, and that way I'll be able to get something into myself, and you guys will be able to take a break, and we'll have, you know, a look at these flags. I'll just see what people are thinking on the chat. I can keep going through, but that will give me a chance to just see what's in the fridge, because I haven't had a chance to do even that since I've been gone. Oh, dead air, ladies and gentlemen. That's something that I'm trying to avoid. All right. Yeah. Okay. So Lornor says that he needs to clean his palate, and David says it sounds like a good idea. All right. Well, I'm gonna turn up the music, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm gonna leave you with that. I'll see if it's going through on the stream. No, it's not quite. Let's take a look. So I put that there. No, I don't think it's quite coming through. Or at least the music isn't. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's hit that intermission. I'm gonna run off and grab some blue tack while I'm doing this, so I can actually stick those things to it. And yes, we will have a quick intermission. Very quick one. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I will leave you to it for just a minute or two. Of course, it's not working. Of course. Here we go. Come on. Let's see. There you go. And I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So, absolutely beautiful work from Yasava here. And I am going to give him just a tiny, tiny bit of a hard time, just because he's asking for it. All right. So the thing that I think that he's done really well is most of the basing, but I just think adding a bit more onto the top of that cork base there would really help things out. But, I have to give him a hard time on that. But yeah, I do really like the way that he's done the shrubbery and such. But this, of all of the basing that I see people doing, this is more just for everyone rather than just Yasava. I think this, I don't think really helps the look of really anything. I don't know what it is, parsley or something. But yeah, it's a very unusual plant, and it doesn't really, to me, look like anything in reality. Whereas, like, this looks like shrubbery, that sort of thing, like some sort of growth. But yeah, I think that everything else looks good. All right, so and he's given us some back shots as well, and I do think that it looks. So in that one part, where it's coming out like that, like a sort of stringy bit of plant, I think that it's lichen apparently. I think that looks good, but I think normally I don't really like that one thing, lichen apparently. And apparently, browser. And yeah, I absolutely love that, we have people giving commentary here, All right, next up, we have Captain Atlanta? No. Where does Captain end on? Oh, Captain Italia. And just an absolutely phenomenal tank here, right? So I think this is one of those super heavy tanks that you can get for 40k. So let's go into it a bit. So I absolutely love this sort of soot effect that he's added to the tank's cannon. I think that looks just absolutely freaking gorgeous. I love the little bits of cabling here, which normally aren't on these sort of 40k things, which sort of adds just that little extra bit of realism to it. I think that looks absolutely phenomenal. Take a look at the way that he has done this glass effect right here. Just phenomenal all round on that. And the way that the rust and the pigments have come through, just absolutely beautiful. Absolutely. So yeah, I think all of that comes together just so well. All right. So next up, we've got some other side shots of it. Also, the way that he's doing the sort of digital camouflage thing amongst all of it, I think that looks really good. Yeah, so Soap Dodger says, it's amazing. Love the rust or mud on the interior of the tracks. Yeah, without a doubt. I think that looks really good. I also like how he's done it in a sort of powered down state at the moment. While I really do like the powered up states, I think that seeing it in a neutral state also looks good. And I think that it suits this particular piece more. Because I think that it just looks so lovely, the sort of rusted out effect that he's got with it. You know, all those little oil stains with each of the rivets. You know, imagine doing up each individual rivet to have those little rust stains. Oh, that would be a bit of a nightmare. And the way that he has done up literally every single rivet. Oh, that sounds like a complete nightmare to me. But yeah, I think that it looks beyond fabulous. But of course, you know, I'm not here just to blow smoke. So I'm going to take a look at, you know, doing a bit of critique on this one. You know, I'm going to try at least see what he could improve somewhere. Oh, I'm having real trouble, guys. If you guys think that there's something, anything that he could improve, that would that would help me out a lot, so that I don't have to think of something, because you know, like, you're always looking to improve. I don't think anybody gets anything absolutely perfect. You know, there's no such thing as perfection. uh, Lawn Or says no base, no elements, 0 of 10. I guess that's one way of looking at it. All right, I don't see anything else that I can really comment on it, so I'm going to move on. So I guess I've failed you a bit on that part, Captain Natalia. But yeah, all right. So next up, we've got Horus with some classic Hero Quest. Yes, for classic Hero Quest. But yeah, looks absolutely phenomenal. So let's get some of this stuff up on here. Oh, it's only a small photo. All right, let's take a look. All right, yeah, we've got some more of the recent heroes from Hero Quest. Please excuse me. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, so he said, I recently started getting my old box sets out and started painting them. I have so much stuff that hasn't been used in years. It's tragic. I started with the heroes from Hero Quest, then Advanced Hero Quest, then Warhammer Quest. And oh, don't they look absolutely lovely, ladies and gentlemen? And what I love is the way that he's done up all the colors. You know, these aren't the greatest sculpts, and you can see the evolution of the sculpt, especially when you take a look at the Barbarian there compared to the Barbarian in the back. You know, I think that they've really, really grown as a game company. Like, remember back in the day, this used to be the standard elf model. You know, just a guy with a sword and that ridiculous, ridiculous pose. But take a look at it, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, just such beautiful coloring. You know, like, I really love how he's given different colors for north, east, west. You know, I think that that looks, you know, just phenomenal. Oh, and I think that this guy's come up really well with all of those sort of neutral sort of nature colors, giving him a much more rangery sort of look. I think that that looks just absolutely phenomenal. But yeah, this axe, just, yeah, it's just great. You know, not a whole lot of individual commentary on this, but I want to say that I 100% wholeheartedly support you in bringing out these old Hero Quest models, because yeah, man, like, we didn't even have access to the old Hero Quest beyond the base set here in Australia. So I love it. I love seeing all of them. All right. Next up, we've got some more work from Horus, and this is, you know, something with a bit more teeth, so to speak. And he's doing up the Man-O-War box sets, and I think that they've come together really, really well. So they're much more how to put it, like, so much more uniform, much more structured compared to these guys. though this is me. This is where I'm at most of the time. Um, and I absolutely love that he's taken the shots of these on the mat, you know, so that we can see what they all look like together as an actual army. And oh, it's just absolutely phenomenal. I think that he's used just great colors with all of this, and those old school banners from back in the day. Um, you know, for me, I'd like to see a bit more colors on some of these things. But other than that, you know, I think that they look absolutely phenomenal. Oh, and here is the old Man of War monsters. Oh my good lord, take a look at that. The old crab, and he's even given the gloss wash to the eyes. I love it. You know, the Titan coming up out of the sea, the evil narwhal, you sharks. Oh, that is just a pure hit of nostalgia, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? Absolutely phenomenal. Horace, man, I absolutely love that you're bringing this to the table. All right, next up, we've got Brushstrokes, and he's been making a bit of a work on his most dreaded part, the waves themselves. And he's the lines there. So I think thus far it's looking really good, man. I think color will be the big thing. You know, I think that'll be the thing for you. Adding that blue color over that's going to be a bit of a nightmare. All right, so and of course we've got some commentary here, right? And I'm gonna read out some of the commentary for Horace's stuff because I thought that was absolutely great, and that I didn't give a bit of you know, any real commentary on it at all. So Evil Stu says Horace looking good. Glad to see the classic minis getting some love, and yeah, without a doubt, I'm in agreement on that one. All right, and Gorilla with a Brush is showing us some works in progress. And like, take a look at that, ladies and gentlemen. That looks so good, just so good, ladies and gentlemen. How many people would be finished at that stage? Like, especially with that work with the eye. Oh, just fucking beautiful, mate. All right, next up, we've got Andy with a Rubicon Panther for a charity event. Oh, that's very nice of you, Andy. And I tell you what, we've actually got some colors on something for once. So I think that looks absolutely phenomenal. So I love it. Like, for me, this looks a lot more like, you know, the I'm not going to call it classic, the more modern style camouflage that I see most of the time. I think that he's done absolutely beautiful work with the way that he's done the chipping, you know, the way that it's worn away at the edges of the stuff, because that's where most of your chipping will actually be. I think that looks absolutely phenomenal. I like the way that he's done up the cloth. I think that, you know, having those different colors to the treads within there, that looks really good. Just that's a phenomenal amount of work for a, you know, item that you aren't going to own. So, you know, very much, you know, well done on that front, man. Thank you very much, Andy, for being a part of a charity and putting your time and effort into that. All right. So next up, we've got MW Cannon doing up a Rhino for the Ultramarines. And yeah, this is an old school Rhino, but you know, one of the things I really like that he's doing is this fade effect, you know, actually giving a bit of color, a bit of texture to these flat surfaces. I think without that, they often look very boring. And I think that that's just added such an extra level of depth to this piece here. How he's got, you know, all of the milling effect around the, I do believe, I forgot, it's not a bulldozer blade. I've forgotten what this blade's called right here. But it's just meant to push junk out of the way. guard bar. I'm not sure what it's called, but anyway, good. And if you take a look at his the way that he's done like an extra bit of chipping and so on, I think that looks really, really good. And you'll also notice just a tiny bit of chipping around where you grab the handlebars of there. I think that looks just really, really good. You know, just very, very subtle pieces right there. But yeah, that old school tank coming up very nice with a lot of those new techniques. All right, so next up we've got Gorilla with a Brush showing off some more works in progress, I do believe. Oh yeah, we get to see this guy all done up. Oh man. Oh, take a look at that cloth work, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my good lord. He is a madman. He is a freaking madman. Oh, that's just gorgeous. Oh no. Oh no. And he's planning out to paint up. Oh wow. Just wow. Oh. Oh my good lord, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that. Oh my god. All right. Let's bring this one up. Just oh, that is absolutely beautiful. All right, so commentary. Geez, wow. All right, so first off, this banner is absolutely gorgeous. The way that it's done in that classic Japanese style just looks absolutely phenomenal. I just love everything about it. You know, the way that he's used a pure white as a highlight and of like a super light blue gray, that looks beautiful. The way that you know that he's done the lines within the fins, that's just beautiful. Oh man, you're making us all look bad. The way that he's done the patterns on the cloth and the way that he's darkened the various areas, it looks so good. The various textures on the dog's face, as well as, you know, the markers for its whiskers, you know, oh, and take a look at that non-metallic metal blade, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, it's just gorgeous. Just, oh, just freaking gorgeous, ladies and gentlemen. Um, well, I I don't know what more I can actually say on this one because it just looks so good at the moment. Um, yeah. All right. I didn't realize how late the stream's delay is, so it's going to take us a while to catch up to this one. Um, so I'm just going to move on before I freaking cry. But yeah, absolutely beautiful work, Gorilla with the brush, showing us what, you know, studio painting can really look like. Um, just wow, man, just wow. And take a look at that interior. Sorry, the leather with the swords red on the interior. Oh, it's beautiful, man. Um, there's not much more I can say other than that. Oh, you've even got the kanji on the back of it. Oh no. That's just unfair, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? All right, next up we've got Hutch, and something, you know, which is a massive project, but I can actually relate to it. I can imagine how it was all done. Um, but yeah, it's just a single picture of him showing how he's building up his ships here, and Yeah. Nice seeing a work in progress after seeing that thing, because that thing's just making me feel bad. Um, but yeah, just absolutely beautiful work on that previous one. But this, yeah, this is looking good. So hopefully we will see that all done up soon enough. All right. Next up, we've got brush strokes. Yeah, and he's showing us some more shots of this, bringing it all together. Oh, and look at the way that he's done the curls with those waves. Oh, wow. That's going to look absolutely phenomenal when it's all done up. Just absolutely phenomenal. All right, I'm gonna while we're taking a look at this, I'm gonna take a quick look back at Beast of War, see if we've got any people who we want to bring over. All right, let's see. I'm just gonna be telling some people that we're live. All right. Bigger Bum is online and that sort of thing. But if you guys want to invite anyone over, feel feel more than welcome. All right, I'm gonna get back to it, and I'm gonna try and forget that stuff by Gorilla with the Brush, because it's making me feel bad. It's so good, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? Just so good. But yeah. All right, so next up we've got Mad Golem, and he's doing up yet more stuff for his shanty town for Walsung. And I tell you what, I think that this stuff is actually looking really great. I love the colors on these, and I think the chipping is looking absolutely phenomenal. I think that he's doing a bit more work with the nails. Uh, yeah, and it's looking just absolutely phenomenal, the way that he's done the chipping, and we've got some colors, and it looks a lot more alive than a lot of the other ones that he's done up. I mean, like, they are just awnings and you know shacks and that sort of thing. But this to me, this is what I absolutely love. A bit of color, a bit of those sorts of elements, and so on. Because to me, that's where we live. We live in the realm of color. But yeah, absolutely love the chipping. Absolutely love the color. All right, next up, we've got The Good Doctor, and he's finished some Fallen Frontiers River Berserkers. And I absolutely love the way that he's doing up the skin with these guys. I think that it looks just phenomenal, just phenomenal. And I love the color contrast with the big red gauntleted fists against all of that blue. I think that looks just absolutely phenomenal. Basing, however, I do think needs something extra on there. I know that it might be just Martian Earth or that sort of thing, but like, the rule still applies even with Martian Earth. You still need to have something extra on there. Otherwise, you're gonna have it just looking far too plain. Um, but yeah, because I think that these guys are looking really good. I love the color scheme. The brown's almost coming, it's making its way there to a mustard yellow. So I think that, you've got some great color contrast with the red and a more yellowy brown. I know that it is a very deep brown, but you guys get what I'm saying with that. I think everybody is following along with that. So yeah, absolutely beautiful work, Mr. Doctor. It's strange, yes, I know. All right, so Pierre's doing some works in progress, and it looks absolutely lovely. So I'm just going to move on from them because they're just the works in progress. All right, and Gorilla with a Brush giving some commentary. All right, next up we've got Maldrake, and he is showing us off something. Look, I don't even know how he's done this. All right, so technically, this is what I was painting during the Hobby Night Live. I will throw the results in here as well. Yeah, man, always do that. You know, if you want to put something in Hobby Night Live, always put it in here. Always. I don't even know how to give comment on that thing right there. All right, so I'm just going to read out what he said. So it's made in a translucent rubbery plastic. And as such, it's perfectly fine to be used without any painting at all. I tried an oil slick rainbowish effect on the cube, dripping an assortment of inks and shades, and then dabbing it with some tissue paper to avoid too much color pulling. Oh, okay, so that's how he's done it. Like, I think that it looks absolutely phenomenal. You know, I just have no idea of how it's working. Um, yeah, because I think that it's looking great. Um, if yeah, no, there's not a whole lot more that I can comment on this thing because I have no idea. All right, I have no idea what else I can say other than it looks really good because I have no idea um, how to paint it up. All right, but this I can comment on, and it looks absolutely phenomenal. So first off, you know, props to whoever did up this model. Reaper Bones apparently, and the cemetery golem just all right. First off, I love how the wings are the gates of the cemetery. And I love how it's made out of various tombstones. I think that that looks just absolutely phenomenal. And down within it, you know, there's a bit of skeleton coming up from, you know, its legs. I think all of that looks absolutely phenomenal. And little gemstones in the hawk there. But I absolutely love this space. This space just looks gorgeous the way that it's done up as if it is from a cemetery. I think that that just looks, oh, so beautiful. And you know, it's something that I can understand and comprehend, unlike Gorilla with the Brushes thing. Next up, he's done up some Armcast pods, and so just a bit of terrain. I think these have come up all right, but I think that you want to add a little something on the edges of the basing because I think, like, especially with how colorful all of this is, like what you could do with this one over here is add some aquarium terrain to this, and I think that that would make it look that much better. I think you know, because that would cover up all of the sort of grassy stuff, and it'd just look like a bit of terrain. I think that'd look good. All right, and next up we've got some more of the mushrooms. These look good. I'm not sure that the grass really suits the mushrooms though. I think that you could do a much more sort of muddy base for those, and I think that they'd look a lot better. You know, I like the way that you've done the patterns on them and so on. I think that the patterns look absolutely phenomenal the way that you've done them up. They just look just lovely, just lovely. And this is what he's currently working on. I think it's another, yeah, another Reaper Bones thing. The Ebon Wrath Dragon. So hopefully we will see that all done up soon enough. All right, so we've got Horace showing off some of the old school dragons that he's done up. So they're not yet finished, but I tell you what, they are looking absolutely phenomenal, are they not, ladies and gentlemen? And it looks like we are getting closer towards the end. We've only got 2 days and 5 hours left to go. So far we will get in this stream. May not end up taking the 4 hours I thought it would. All right, so he's also managed to do up these guys, and I do believe that these are completely finished up. And here they are, ladies and gentlemen, the redemptionists that I was talking about earlier. So this is Cawdor. I do believe that's how it's pronounced. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but